Hey, you guys, it is Crystal Nicole, and it is like almost midnight. And I'm checking in. I've been wanting to talk about Esther, the book of Esther, but before I get off into Esther, I think it's important for me to speak about Vashti first, which was King Xerxes, and I don't think that's how his name is pronounced, but I don't know how to pronounce it, so I'm gonna just call him King Xerxes because that's what everybody else call him. But before I get off into how amazing Esther is and how she got the position of the queen, you gotta first understand how bogus Vashti was and how she lost her position as the queen. Okay, so King Xerxes was the king of the Persian Empire. This kingdom stretched from India to Ethiopia. He was king of 127 provinces. Let's just say 127 states. Now, America only got 50 states. He was running double that. So he threw a party to celebrate, to party with all the different princes and people that he had in positions over those 127 provinces. And the party lasted 180 days. And his wife, which was Queen Vashti, who was beautiful, also threw a party for the women. So after the 180-day party or feast, he did another 7-day one in his garden at his house where he was just really showing off and people was just coming to look at everything. And he was drinking and he got a little tipsy and he was just showing off. They were just like, yeah, King Xerxes, the man, look at his house. Look what he got. Look at his servants. Look at his wife. Well, they didn't look at his wife. He was just like, you guys should see my wife. So he sent for her. He wanted her to come and put on her crown and show all these different people how amazing his wife was. They saw how amazing his house was, how amazing the course was, how amazing the garden, how amazing the wine and women and the service and the food. They saw all of this. He was showing off. He was doing his big one. When he sent for his wife, who was also entertaining a group of women, she was like, I'm not finna go and show them nothing. I'm not finna go be seen. I ain't got time for that. He drunk. I'm not finna be flaunted around in front of his friends and bragged on. She had that attitude of no. Mind you, he's a king. You told this man no in front of all the homies. Not just any homies. You told this man no in front of all these noble men, all these princes, all these people in high places. It made him look real bad. She didn't just tell him no in front of anybody. She told him no in front of everybody. The people that was visiting, the people that lived there, the people that served under him. And it made him look weak as a king to the point where if he didn't do something, it could have opened the door for so many attacks. It could have made him look like you can't even get your household in order. Your wife don't respect you. Why should we? You can't have your house in order. Why should we let you reign as king? That could have done so much to make a king look weak in front of those people. You don't know how many of them people really wanted his seat and could have came up against him and turned against him to take over because you look like a weak man and you look like a weak king and your wife won't even listen to you. Your own wife don't listen to you. So they said, hey, you're going to have to do something about that. So King Xerxes brought in all his wise men. He had a council of noble men that was wise, and they were able to discern the times, and they were able to understand what was going on. And he said, what should we do about Queen Vashti? What would you do if you were me? How should we handle this situation? He called a meeting about his wife with the homies. So the homie said, look, the queen has influence. She's the queen. She's beautiful. They were able to discern the times. They said that she's looked upon as influential. The women want us to be like her. The people wish they had her spots. She was gorgeous. She was beautiful. She was in a high position. She had the king as her man. Therefore, if you don't check this, our wives are going to think it's okay to do the same to us. If you don't check this position, our wives are going to look at what the queen did and think it's cool to tell us no. And a man should be ruler of his house. The king said, what should I do? They said, get rid of her and get somebody that's better than her. Get somebody that's prettier than her. Get somebody that's going to know her role, play it right, and be in position to do what she's supposed to do and make you look good. And that's what he did. The king locked the queen away forever. Nobody could ever look at her again. She couldn't even look at herself. There probably wasn't even a mirror. Wherever they put her, she was there forever. You ain't want to be seen. Now you really won't be seen. And then they went to seek out somebody to replace her, someone that's modest, someone that has a heart of service, someone that was wise enough to not embarrass her man in front of the homies, not just in front of the homies, but in front of his enemies, in front of the people that probably hated him secretly, in front of the people that was probably jealous. You made this man look bad. And even if your husband was a little tipsy, even if he was drunk and he just wanted to show you off and he was being a little misogynistic, girl, it was just walk in there, throw your crown on, and go about your business. And then talk to him later. No, she's like, I don't care what he said or what he got going on. I ain't finna do this. He drunk. I ain't finna deal with him and his drunk friends. And she didn't, so she got dealt with. The queen had pretty privilege. She was beautiful. She looked good, smelled good, probably had a mean walk, but her heart was wrong. She was selfish. She wasn't a servant. She wasn't willing to do what she didn't want to do or didn't feel like doing, even if it made her king look bad. This ain't even just your man. This is the king of Persia. This ain't even, and you did this in front of so many people. She just didn't care. She had no reverence to her man. So the king sent out notes and letters to all 127 provinces, because you know that went viral. You know everybody heard about that part. And he wrote a note and told all the men that Queen Vashti is no longer queen. I got rid of her. Let this be a witness to you guys that a man is supposed to be ruler of his house. He made an example out of her. No one knew or ever knew her again. She was never seen again. It doesn't matter how pretty she was, how gorgeous she was, how nicely shaped she was. Her looks were soon forgotten, because not only did they get rid of her, they found someone that was better than her to replace her. So she really was soon forgotten. Not only did they find someone to replace her, they found Esther. And Esther was a Jew. Esther was secretly one of God's followers. Esther was beautiful. She was modest. She was humble. She loved God and the things of God. And when they found her, they put her into preparation for a year. Not only just her, But it's believed that there was like 300 to 700 women that they grabbed to replace Queen Vashti. And it took them a year to prepare the next woman for this king. Before Esther was ever even able to meet the king for the first time, they put her in preparation and training. After that hiccup that Queen Vashti did, they weren't finna put just anybody in that position to be the queen to King Xerxes, the ruler of the Persian Empire. He couldn't afford another hiccup. He couldn't afford to be disrespected again by his woman, by his wife. And then everybody was expecting to see. I bet they were like talking like, I wonder what his next wife gonna be like. I wonder if she gonna be disrespectful, because if your next wife disrespects you, then you probably really are weak. Like, he needed to have a comeback from that situation. So they weren't just gonna give him just anybody. They put those women through preparation for a year. They had to soak in oils for months. They had to detox and be cleansed and go through so many beautification treatments for a year. They had to learn these laws. They had to learn how to approach the king. They had to learn how to be his wife. She had favor with the king's unit, and he knew the king, and he knew what the king liked. He gave Esther extra treatments and extra mentoring and extra tutoring. And she also had her cousin Mordecai, who raised her, who was wise as well, who was like her mentor. He was telling her, hey, this is what you do, this is what you do. So Queen Esther had God. She was fasting, she was praying, she was being beautified, she was listening to her cousin's instructions, she was listening to the eunuch's instructions, and she also was naturally humble, sweet, loving, prayerful, understanding. She was a servant of God, and the king of Persia had no idea that she was a Jew. No one did. No one did. I'm going to get off into Esther on a separate post, because Esther is like one of my favorite books of the Bible, and it's going to take me too long to get through that process. But this is why Vashti lost her position, and this is how Esther gained it. Now, King Xerxes went to the homies and was like, what should I do? You could tell he really didn't want to hurt her. He didn't really want to do anything bad to her, which is probably why he even allowed her to live. But he knew he had to do something because he was king. And he knew he couldn't have a rebellious, disrespectful wife full of pride, to the degree where I'm not even going to humble or submit myself to the king. Now, was he probably bogus and a little annoying? Yes, absolutely. He was drunk. He was showing off. Women don't like show-offs all the time. However, she was only in her position because she was a show-off. She wasn't in her position because she was so wise and sweet-spirited. No, she won her spot because she was beautiful. But what the king didn't really have was a wife that was beautiful on the inside as well as the outside. So because the work on the inside was ugly, and she wasn't wise enough to not embarrass that man in front of 127 different provinces and different princes and leaders and the homies and the servants and everybody else. She didn't care. She just didn't feel like dealing with his drunk butt. Not today. But she lost it all. She lost it all for somebody who had it all. Queen Vashti made the king look bad. The Queen Esther made that man look good. And they both were beautiful. But Esther took a little more preparation. Finding that Esther took a little more time. Finding that Esther took digging through 300 to 700 different women just to find that one. Just to find that one that loved God, that loved the culture, that loved family, that loved the king. She honored and respected and loved her cousin. She took instruction well. She was humble. She was modest. She was beautiful. She had a heart of love. And she was actually willing to die for a cause. But I'll get deeper into that once I talk about the book of Esther, because I just had to at least start with how Vashti lost her spot and what caused her to lose a position of one of the wealthiest kings of the history, who was king of Persia. Like, he was willing to share half of his kingdom with his wife. And you couldn't just come in here and put your crown on and twirl and walk back out and then go back to the party with them little girls you over there partying with. She couldn't do it. She couldn't do it, so she got demoted. Y'all, I'm going to get back into this when I got a little more time. But for now, bye, y'all.